They bleach them, they deodorize them, they expose them to high heat, which can actually cause the production of trans fatty acids, which we know are terrible for your health. Now, what about good seed oils? Would you be shocked to understand that there's actually some seed oils that have beneficial effects? Well, look at this. This study found that effects of flaxseed oil supplementation lowered biomarkers of inflammation and actually improved antioxidant capacity in the body. Practically speaking, I think it's best to get omega-3s into your diet as the focus. A walnut is a very rich source of omega-3s, but it also has the omega-6s. The chicken breast you're eating to hit your protein target also has omega-6s. What this basically means, and the reason I'm saying this, is that we don't have to be so freaking afraid of seed oils. It has gotten into mania and hysteria. Do you ever look around and think, humans are absolutely crazy? I mean, we fight about everything, we're wrong half the time, and anyone who doesn't see things the way we do, they're clearly the idiot. Well, I am seeing this happen so much online right now when it comes to the nutrition discussion, particularly around the topic of seed oils. You've probably heard it. Seed oils are toxic. They're gonna kill you. You better not have any canola oil, sunflower oil, soybean oil. This stuff is poison. But is there nuance here? What's the actual truth? I wanted to create this video to give you my personal take on this topic, one that I hope you'll find is level-headed, soothing, and based in actual research. And now I value your time, so I'm gonna give you the bottom line up front. I'm gonna tell you in the next couple minutes exactly what I do, the oils I use, the foods I eat, and in the rest, in the back half of this video, I'm gonna substantiate everything I say with research if you wanna get a little deeper into the nuance. Let's get into today's video. First, if you're new to this channel, hi, my name's Dr. Anthony Balduzzi. I'm the founder of the Fit Father and Fit Mother projects, leading health and weight loss programs for busy parents over 40. I've helped over 60,000 families in over 100 countries lose weight and get healthy with simple and practical advice. And what I'm going to share today is what I've discovered after doing health and fitness for over 2 decades now, and the kinds of foods that I actually eat. Now, when it comes to seed oils, the story that is told online is that starting around the 1950s, we began to replace traditional fats like lard, tallow, and butter, and we created things like margarine. And we used byproducts from industrial manufacturing, things like rapeseed oil that we renamed to canola oil, and we started feeding it to people. And the story is that as the seed oil consumption increased, so did our health epidemics. Our cardiometabolic health went to shit. We became fatter, dumber, sicker, and so this must be one of the leading culprits, right? Well, there's some nuance here. I'm certainly not creating this video to tell you that seed oils are healthy. In fact, I avoid them for the most part. But I'm also here to do a little bit of vindication against some of the health influencers online who completely miss the nuance of this topic. So let's get into this topic. Are seed oils as bad as people say they are? Well, first off, I want to say, do I eat seed oils? The answer is rarely. I basically cook in ghee, butter, tallow, avocado oil, and occasionally coconut oil. I drizzle extra virgin olive oil on salads and greens. I put MCT oil in drinks. I am not going out of my way to get canola oil, soybean oil, corn oil, safflower oil, or any of that into my diet. And it's not because I don't think the fatty composition of these oils is necessarily bad. I'm going to show you that it actually can have health benefits. It's because these oils are highly processed BS that can harm your health, especially when they're heated. But I also don't stress about it. I've seen videos online of people saying, oh, never go to a restaurant because they're going to cook your steak in canola oil or something like that. Look, I go to sushi with my family. I guarantee they mix some sesame oil in with the rice when they're making the sushi rice. I don't think twice about it. I know it's not impacting my inflammation to a dramatic extent. I'm going to prove it to you. The second thing is that not all seed oils are the same. It's kind of like saying that all fruit is the same. And you can imagine someone with a giant bag of raisins just eating grams and grams and grams of sugar, and someone having a little bit of some organic blackberries. They're not the same experience for the body. And the same thing goes to seed oils. In fact, at the end of this video, I'm going to show you the real research that things like flaxseed oil or black seed oil, which comes from black cumin, are very beneficial for your health. They're technically seed oils, but they're not the same thing as a canola oil that is industrially processed and has a lot of bad solvents and other things involved with them. And I'll make this case really early, that seed oils that come from whole seeds have a host of health benefits. Like if you begin to add hemp seeds, chia seeds, flax seeds into your diet, your health will likely improve. Because it's not just about the fatty composition, it's also about the vitamins and the minerals and the different plant compounds that have beneficial hormetic effects on the body. And you're gonna see people saying online, Dr. Anthony, what about the phytic acid, the lectins, all the anti-nutrients? And I'm gonna say, for the majority of people, no big deal. Look, if you try these things and they make you feel worse, you eat seeds, you eat nuts, and your health actually noticeably does not improve and even gets worse, you feel inflamed, joint pain, any issues, then don't eat them. Seed oils, those that come from whole seeds like flax seeds, hemp seeds, chia seeds, with a whole concert of vitamins and minerals and some of these fats, these are likely beneficial for you. And look, we are all different. You are a beautiful, unique sunflower. And if you eat any of these things and you find that you feel worse, they are not for you. That being said, I think the research does well support that adding these seeds in, even though they have some anti-nutrients like phytic acid, even though they have some lectins, are net beneficial for the majority of people. So, the fats and seeds can be okay. And that's a much different experience than having a processed seed oil. See, seed oils in their manufacturing are bastardized. They get all of their beneficial natural antioxidants, which are good for your health. They get rid of those things. They bleach them. They deodorize them. They expose them to high heat, which can actually cause the production of trans fatty acids, which we know are terrible for your health. And I think there's a lot of health influencers who are doing a very good job of making it clear that highly processed seed oils are no bueno.
How is this soybean oil made? First, the soybeans are pressed in a screw press. Then they are extracted with an organic solvent, which is known to be neurotoxic, called hexane, which also has trace contamination with a carcinogen known as benzene. After that, there's a sodium hydroxide wash, followed by bleaching and deodorization and heating to 500 degrees Fahrenheit of this fragile oil, which certainly damages the oil and leaves it rancid and partially oxidized. This extreme heating of these fragile seed oils also leads to significant amounts of trans fats in these oils, something that's been detected multiple times but you are never told about. Then these oils are packaged in a plastic container, which is going to leach endocrine disrupting chemicals or heavy metals like antimony into the oil, and they're stored on shelves for, who knows, months?
But does the science show that high omega-6 intake from seed oils definitively causes inflammation in the body? The answer is no. And I'm going to share the actual research, the meta-analyses with you in just a little bit. What is very clear, though, is that oxidized high-heat seed oils does mess you up. Think about frying, or if let's say you go to a fast food restaurant and you're getting some French fries. They probably have some corn oil or peanut oil that they keep in the fryer forever, constantly reheating it, and then they're dipping potatoes in there over and over. This definitely is bad for your health. But that is a much different experience than having a little sesame oil or cooking with some grapeseed oil in a frying pan because you're frying some vegetables on some kind of high heat just one time. Like, that is very, very different. And I think the nuance in here is important. And part of it is that people like to oversimplify things. I think it's just the human nature. We like to hop into different religions. We like things to be very black and white. And a lot of people have adopted this oversimplified idea that because seed oils are rich in omega-6s, and because omega-6s can lead to production of inflammatory compounds, that because seed oils are high in omega-6, they are inherently inflammatory. And that is not the case. I'm going to show you the studies. Unchecked inflammation does not happen when you get omega-6 in your diet. Your body is very good at regulating these levels. It really comes down to the proper ratio of fats in your body, the ratio of omega-6 to omega-3. And I'm going to say the optimal level from the research is probably a 1-to-1, so 1 gram of omega-6 to 1 gram of omega-3, or maybe even 2, 3 to 4 to 1. So that'd be like more omega-6 than omega-3. Now, the standard Western diet today is estimated to be around 20 to 1. So we've certainly gone overboard, and basically all the cheap ultra-processed foods that are destroying people's health, the chips, the Doritos, the Cheetos, the baked goods, these are loaded with cheap processed seed oils, so we're getting a ton of those in there. But look, if you start throwing sunflower seeds on your salad, pumpkin seeds on your salad, hemp seeds in your protein smoothie, your health is probably going to improve, even though these things have omega-6. Now, practically speaking, I think it's best to get omega-3s into your diet as the focus. The seed oils will find you. because a walnut is a very rich source of omega-3s, but it also has the omega-6s. The chicken breast you're eating to hit your protein target also has omega-6s. So from a practical standpoint, focus on getting the omega-3s in, and here are some of my favorite sources. Cold water fatty fish, like wild salmon, but don't forget about sardines, herring, mackerel. These smaller fish are great because they don't accumulate the mercury, they don't have as many microplastics on average, and they're just really great for those marine-based omega-3s. If you're a vegan vegetarian and you want to supplement with something, an algae-based omega-3 supplement is phenomenal for that bioavailable DHA, which is one type of the omega-3s. Walnuts are a food that I wish if I could snap my finger and everyone in the United States had to start eating a specific kind of food, and friends outside the United States, you too. Walnuts. You eat a handful of walnuts, you're going to get some great plant-based omega-3s balanced with omega-6s. Grass-fed and grass-finished meats have higher omega-3 content, higher CLA, which is another helpful fat, than the omega-6 counterpart of animals that were corn-fed. So this is important. Like if we're going to be eating animal proteins, ideally eat ones that are of the highest quality, eating the foods that those animals are intended to, and you're going to get more balanced fats. And of course, hemp seeds, chia seeds, flax seeds have a great balance of omega-3s and 6 naturally. So focus on the omega-3s. But again, the idea that the high omega-6 containing seed oils are inherently inflammatory is just not the case. Like our bodies need omega-6s for a reason. I want to read this to you. Along with omega-3 fatty acids, omega-6 fatty acids play a crucial role in brain function, in normal growth and development. As a type of polyunsaturated fat, omega-6 helps stimulate skin and hair growth, maintain bone health, regulate metabolism, and maintain the reproductive system. Our body needs these things. That's in fact why we actually need a higher proportion of those than the omega-3s. And foods that are high in omega-6 that are still healthy are things like eggs, sunflower seeds, avocado oil, soybeans. And now there are unhealthier versions of omega-6 containing foods, like mayonnaise is not the best. It contains, things like canola oil or sunflower oil. But again, in the right doses, I'm going to show you from the research in just a little bit, it's okay. It's not as big of a deal as many people lead you to believe. And of course, certain animal proteins like chicken have higher omega-6 than the grass-fed beef. Now, the idea that omega-6s lead to rampant inflammation in the body is because linoleic acid, that is the technical term for the omega-6 fatty acid we're talking about, can get converted into something called arachidonic acid. And arachidonic acid can get converted to a bunch of pro-inflammatory cytokines like prostaglandins, leukotrienes, eicosanoids, thromboxanes. These are things that are inflammation signals in the body, and we want the capacity to do this. The body needs to create inflammation when it's necessary. The chronic inflammation all the time is the real problem. So the idea is if we eat higher amounts of omega-6, we're going to have higher amounts of arachidonic acid, and we're inherently going to become more inflammatory. Fortunately for us humans, this is reductionist thinking, and omega-6s actually are rate limited in terms of how much arachidonic acid and consequently how much inflammation is created. I'm actually going to quote this study. The study is titled Omega-6 Fatty Acids and Risk for Cardiovascular Disease. From the study, the production of arachidonic acid from linoleic acid, omega-6, is tightly regulated. Wide variations in dietary linoleic acid above essential intakes do not materially alter tissue arachidonic acid content. Basically, what that's saying is the body is super smart. It knows how to take in omega-6 and dish out the right amount of pro-inflammatory and anti-inflammatory cytokines. Another study, increasing dietary linoleic acid, omega-6, does not increase tissue arachidonic acid content in adults consuming Western-type diets. From the study, they found that decreasing the amount of omega-6 in the diet by up to 90% was not significantly correlated with changes of arachidonic acid levels in the phospholipid of plasma in the blood or the serum. Similarly, when dietary linoleic acid, the omega-6, was increased up to 6-fold, no significant correlations with arachidonic acid levels were observed. What this is saying is whether we squish down and get very, very, very little omega-6 or we really boost it up, the body has a good way of regulating it. And the net effect of eating omega-6 is that our body makes some pro-inflammatory cytokines and actually some anti-inflammatory ones too. And this is really good news because you don't need to micromanage all your omega-6 intake and be super afraid of ever having omega-6 from seed oil containing things. I still do suggest that you do not eat seed oils in the oil form. You get them from the whole seeds from which they originally come, because there is something to be said about all the chemicals and the processing and the high heat and the crap that goes into making them an ultra-processed oil. One more study before we move on. It's called the effects of omega-6 polyunsaturated fatty acids compared with saturated fatty acids on liver fat, lipoproteins, and inflammation in abdominal obesity. And basically what they did is they took two groups of people. They matched them for calories. They matched them for macros, protein, carbs, and fats. And from their fats, one group got their fat from vegetable oils, and the other group got their fat from saturated fat derived from butter. And what they found is the group that had the seed oils, the vegetable oils, had lower inflammation, lower liver fat, and lower fasting insulin levels, right? So that's contrary to what you might find online when a lot of health influencers saying, eat butter, butter is a super healing food. I am not saying butter is bad. I have butter every single day. I put ghee in my morning drinks. I cook eggs often in butter. I give it to my daughter. In the right dose, these saturated fatty acids can be very helpful and beneficial. But the idea that we should just go rampant on saturated fats and villainize all seed oils is just not supported by the research. It's too reductionistic, and it's just not true. And there's other studies that are meta-analyses, which look at a whole bunch of different studies together. This one's entitled Dietary Linoleic Acid, Omega-6, and the Risk of Coronary Heart Disease, a Systematic Review. And what they found is that the group that had the highest linoleic acid intake, the omega-6, was associated with a 15% lower risk of cardiovascular disease events and a 21% lower risk of cardiovascular deaths. So, what this basically means, and the reason I'm saying this, is that we don't have to be so freaking afraid of seed oils. It has gotten into mania and hysteria. And to really drive this home, they've even done studies where they put canola oil and olive oil head to head. Now, this particular study was small. There's only 48 people, but they basically gave them a tablespoon of canola oil every single day or a tablespoon of olive oil. And for 6 weeks, they had this every single day. And then they measured their inflammatory markers. And CRP, which is a measure of blood inflammation, was reduced in both. And the olive oil was only slightly better. So it certainly shows that the canola oil was not some rampantly toxic thing for the body. And canola oil is honestly probably one of the lower quality seed oils. It's not one that I would want to put in my body. Now, there is an argument to be said about how seed oils may contribute to cardiovascular disease and problems. So we now know when we look at cholesterol, it's not like all cholesterol is bad and we've kind of overblown this. It is the oxidized cholesterol, particularly oxidized LDL, that is problematic. And if you are having a Western diet, you are eating a completely unbalanced, massive amount of omega-6 with not enough omega-3, your LDL particles are more susceptible to becoming oxidized. Okay? Important point. So when you have more LDL that could be oxidized and you have a stressful life, you're getting bombarded with environmental toxins and chemicals and just shit happens, you have a higher risk of having that LDL ox, which leads to arterial plaque, which eventually leads to heart attacks and strokes. So that's something to consider. But again, it's about the ratio, right? So if you're getting enough omega-3, you don't need to worry about getting any amount of seed oils in your diet. And the real take-home message is that oxidized oils suck. They're terrible for you. Oxidizing happens when oils are exposed to super high heat. This is a rodent study, but they found that oxidized linoleic acid metabolites basically mess up the mitochondria in the liver. They cause cell death, and they activate inflammatory cascades in the body. And in this rodent study, they gave the rodents 3 types of fats. They gave them regular linoleic acid, just omega-6 that was not oxidized. They gave them oxidized linoleic acid, and I believe they gave them omega-3 based fats as well. And guess what? The non-oxidized omega-6 fatty acids didn't cause problems. The oxidized ones certainly do. So if we look at all the fast food, again, this is the stuff that's fried, high heat, oxidized. If you look at seed oils that you might buy at a local supermarket, right? They're produced under high heat conditions. They're stored in plastic containers that with the light is coming through and slowly oxidizing the oil. You do not want any of that. So small aside is whenever you buy oil, buy it high quality, ideally in a glass container and one that has a little bit of tint on it so it protects the oil from oxidation. And this goes for seed oils, but also things like even olive oil or avocado oil, because those can get oxidized too. Now, what about good seed oils? Would you be shocked to understand that there's actually some seed oils that have beneficial effects? Well, look at this. Flaxseed oil is technically a seed oil. only 14% of its fats come from omega-6, so you can compare that to something like safflower oil or sunflower oil, which is 75% omega-6. So if you're looking to recreate balance, you can get some seed oils that are actually low in omega-6 into your diet. And this study found that effects of flaxseed oil supplementation lowered biomarkers of inflammation and actually improved antioxidant capacity in the body. So this is seed oil that gives benefits. And then there's really special seed oils like black seed oil, which is extracted from the seeds of Nigella sativa plant, also known as black cumin or black caraway. It is a dark brown or black oil with a pungent, slightly bitter taste. And the reason it is bitter is because it has special compounds in it called thymoquinone, which is believed to contribute to so many health benefits like respiratory benefits, digestive benefits, reducing arthritis, and even immune health. And the omega-6 content in this black seed oil is 56%. It's pretty high, but people take it and they feel better. So I hope you see that there's some nuance here. It's about ultra-processed oils are bad for you. High-heat oils that get oxidized are bad for you. And seed oils by themselves are not some mythically horrible thing that you've been led to believe. If you go to a restaurant and you suspect that kitchen is cooking your vegetables in grapeseed oil or your steak in canola oil, it's okay. That's not going to be a big deal for you over the long haul. It's about balance in the body. And typically with most things when it comes to nutrition, excess processing is often the problem. Us humans, we mess things up by trying to get super fancy and taking the intelligence of nature that works inherently with our bodies and throwing it off kilter and off whack. I'll also say that fried foods will likely quicken your death. I mean, fried foods are the epitome of oxidizing oils, using them low quality over and over. So if you want to die, eat fried foods. That's been pretty well established. And the ultra-processed foods that have the seed oils have so many other problems besides their omega-6 content. The Doritos, the Cheetos, the baked goods, they have the sugars, they have chemicals, preservatives, dyes, they spike your blood glucose, and they're addictive. So you end up eating more calories. And independent of all this nuanced biochemistry stuff where we look at, the omega-6s and stuff like that, just eating too many calories and gaining fat and having more weight on your body than you need is inflammatory. Being overweight increases your risk of all sorts of diseases. So the process of getting healthy is certainly learning more, but it's also becoming more intelligent and balanced. This is sustainable over the long haul. And look, do you need to go ahead and eat seed oils? No. But I hope you can relax and understand that just because they have omega-6s doesn't mean they're going to turn your body into an inflammation factory that is not supported by the actual research. And so again, what do? Well, I don't actually buy any seed oils. The only oil I would ever buy from a grocery store would be a high-quality extra virgin olive oil in a glass bottle. Avocado oil that I use for high-heat cooking, some ghee or some high-quality grass-fed butter, some MCT oil. I typically buy that online, and I throw that in morning drinks and smoothies for the ketone production. And I don't use coconut oil as much, but it has benefits, antimicrobial benefits as well. So I still don't recommend you use seed oils. I just want you to relax a little bit. It's okay to have omega-6s, and maybe consider eating more seeds. You start throwing pumpkin seeds in your diet, you get more zinc, you get more of these beneficial minerals, you get some fiber that your gut bacteria actually do enjoy, and you get better gut health. So we don't need to be super extreme. And of course, if you want help putting all this stuff into a practical and simple plan, this is exactly what me and my team do with tens of thousands of parents over the age of 40 inside our Fit Father and Fit Mother communities. You can check out the links in the description where you can get our free 1-week plan. I'll give you a free eating plan. I'll show you how we do our workouts. I'll give you some motivation tips over the course of a week. And if you're really excited and you just want to hop into our full-blown programs, we have a 6-week foundations program that launches every single month. You can also check the links in the description. And for the rest of this video, I just want to share with you some stories from our members so you can see what happens when you get on a simple, realistic, sustainable, science-based approach to healthy eating, exercise, and healthy living. It is possible to get all of this garbage and misinformation and confusion out of your life and to just be healthy and enjoy your body and feel good about what you're doing. So check out those links. This is Dr. Anthony Balduzzi signing off. Hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you around the channels. Make sure you hit the like button if you enjoyed this. Subscribe if you haven't joined the channel already. And I'll see you in future videos, and I'll talk to you very soon.
I came across the Fit Father Project, and I was skeptical. And I tried some free stuff, and it worked. And I dipped my toe in a little deeper until I finally dove in and bought the program. And it was the best thing I ever did. I'm really close to being 100 pounds down right now. I feel amazing. I don't feel 47.
I've been a P90X guy. I've been a Shaun T guy. All of these are very intense workout programs, but they fail to approach working out from a scientific perspective, and that's what Dr. A brings to the table.
I'm 100% in the best shape I've ever been in my adult life at 55 years young. And I know with absolute certainty that there's way more I can do yet. If I hadn't found you at the time I did, I would probably still be bimbling around in the dark the same way as I was for the previous 20 years. This works and it's sustainable and it's not hard.
8 months later, I had lost 85 pounds, dropped my waist from a 48 to a 31. I had a 6-pack of abs. Unbelievable. My sleeping was better. My mood was better. My energy was up. All I can say is that it works.
I'm fitter today in my 40s than I was when I thought I was at my fittest in my 20s. By the end of 6 months, I had lost 21 pounds. I did not think I had that much to lose. My life is forever transformed, physically, mentally, spiritually. I hope it changes your life even more so than it's changed mine.
You know, I've lost about 60 pounds. My blood pressure is way down. Lowest probably ever. And my energy level's way up. I actually feel like a different guy. It's awesome. I would really encourage you to get connected with Dr. Anthony.
And I weighed almost 300 pounds. Today I weigh 190 pounds. I wear a size 32 waist. My strength, my stamina, my energy have all increased tremendously because of all of the things that I've learned in the Fit Father program.
If you're busy and you're feeling a little bit helpless because your time is limited, this is the one for you. The difference in my attitude, my focus at work, my focus on my kids, my focus on my wife is just amazing. If you're stuck and feel stagnant, Anthony can help you.
I joined Fit Father Project 42 days ago. What it's done for me in this short amount of time has given me incredible confidence, has given me energy more so than I had when I was 21, and I feel alive. You can be in control of your life. I eat better, I sleep better, I feel better, and I want 30 years from now for my daughters to be proud of where I'm at and what I'm doing. This is awesome, and it works, and it will definitely change your life.